About to put join us now.
Yay, we are live. We are live. We are back for part 2. I'm so excited. I am so excited. Listen, so just like I said last time, I was watching a video by Timothy Ward and it's titled Is Leaving America the New American Dream? Right. And I said it was a provocative question because a lot of people are leaving. People are leaving America in droves. And we're like, what is causing, hey, Marilyn, what is causing this grand exodus out of America? Right. Well, this episode is a continuation of last couple of weeks episode. And we're going to be talking to some women who have actually left America or are just about to, right? So, but Big Up Yourself, originals, and welcome to another episode of the Big Up Yourself Show. I'm your host, Winsome Alexander. On this show, we have captivating conversations on matters of healing, inspiration, activities, events, and travel. And I'm a member of the Exodus Summit community. And like I said last time, I don't mention that enough, but that's a very vibrant group that helps and supports people who want to leave America or just globetrot. So please join our community as we discuss various topics concerned with self-improvement, self-celebration, and how to be the original person you were created to be from anywhere in the world. Please subscribe. You are invited to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment or question, and share with someone else. So this episode is titled Expats in Colombia and Costa Rica. Now, I want to say too that we're not bashing America, right? It's just not working for us right this moment the way that it used to. So we want a lifestyle that balances work with serenity, where we're not in the rat race all the time. We want to be able to breathe and be more of our original self. And the general American culture has just become too much. It's overwhelming, right? So let's meet today's guests. Now, let's start with Mojo. Mojo was here last time. She is back.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
And where are you, Mojo?
I'm currently in Medellin, Colombia, here in South America.
Oh my God, you seem to be picking up the accent, girl.
That's right. I'm a
I love it.
Because I love the accent here, listen, the Paisa accent is something different. So even if you've been to several Spanish-speaking countries, Colombian Spanish, and once you get to South America, it is very specific. So you pick up different things in the dialect, different ways of saying things. But oh yeah, we're getting it down.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And Jess, tell us, girl, tell us.
2 days and a wake up. And I'm out.
2 days and you're out. And you're going to
Costa Rica.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is so exciting.
Yep.
So exciting.
I'm literally sitting here amongst all my suitcases in an Airbnb. Like, this is my life. All packed up. That's it.
Wow. So you've left your home and everything, and you're in an Airbnb. In 2 days, you'll be in your new home in Costa Rica. That is amazing.
Yes. I have to admit, I shed a tear when I closed the door on that house. I shed a tear. My daughter was like, "Mommy, are you okay?" She's like, "You're freaking me out."
Yeah.
It's okay. Mommy's okay. I said, I'm just human. It's a human emotion. Mommy's sad right now.
Yes. End of an era and beginning of a new one.
Yes, absolutely.
And Diamond wasn't able to join us last time because she was traveling around Costa Rica, living her best life. But she's here today. Welcome, Diamond. Tell us a little bit about you and where you are in the world right now.
All right. Well, thank you for allowing me today. I am currently in Medellin, Colombia as well. And I've been spending the month of July here, I spent the month of July in Colombia in general. I started in Cartagena, and I'm spending my last 2 weeks in Medellin to figure out where I want to be, because I know I want to come to Colombia, but I wasn't sure where, which I'm glad I did, because I thought I would have liked Cartagena.
Yeah.
But Medellin has stolen my heart.
Medellin
So-
is the place, man. Medellin is the place. Let me tell you. Medellin is the place. I love it there. I really do.
It's
Yes.
snatching all the sisters up. It's just something about the vibe and
The
energy.
vibe, right? The
energy
energy.
is just so
So
good.
good.
The energy is so good.
Yeah.
It's undeniable. You
What's
get
good?
here and
Share what's good about the energy.
I think Diamond, go ahead. I'll let you go. Go ahead, Mama.
Yeah.
Well, first I'll say, a few years ago, from 2016 to 2019, I was an expat in China, and I didn't want to stay there long because I don't think I connected with the culture, but I did like the vibe there. And then fast forward to now, and I get to Medellin, and I'm like, oh, I remember this. This is what Shanghai felt like. It's just, it's bustling. It is like, it is a big city, but you know, you have opportunities in other places to get your quiet and more slow environment. And I like how much, I like how often the expat communities, how often they get together, and there's always a different group for different things. You know, there's just a variety. You know, like other places, you may have, you know, a bar and club scene that people want to focus on, which that happens here too. But they have so many other things to do. There's always something to do, no matter what you're interested in. And I love a place like that because I do like to stay busy. So Medellin's the kind of place you can find anything that you're into.
Yes, that is so true. Oh my gosh, I love that place. I love that place. I say this all the time, and I'm gonna stop saying it because now I realize it doesn't even matter. I like to say if I were younger, Colombia, Medellin would be my place, but what does it matter? What does it matter? You know, you can go as much as or as little as you want to. Yeah. So now let me say hi to everybody in the chat so far. Hello, Marilyn, beloved Mary Love. She is here. Tori, Prophet Mother, is here. Hello, my love. Mimi is here. Hey, Mimi. Shakanda Weaver is here. Hello, my love. Oh, my goodness. Yes, and Marilyn is reminding us, please do like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please, it helps us out a lot. Don't forget to hit the bell, the notification bell, so you won't miss any updates. You want to be a part of this ride. Yes, Marilyn, that's right. Let them know. Let them know y'all want to be a part of this ride. Okay, so I have a question for Diamond. Because you weren't here the last time, we talked about our little American trauma story. And don't you know, I stumbled upon a show on the internet by the Young Turks. I don't know if you know that show, the Young Turks. They were actually interviewing people who are sharing trauma stories related to America and why they left America. So I had asked the other ladies that question last time, Diamond, and I want to ask you the same. Is there a trauma story related to your reasons for wanting to leave America?
So the first time I left America, no. The first time I left, it was just the opportunity presented itself and I didn't have anything going on. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
But when I came back to America, towards the end of 2019, a few months before COVID hit, I didn't feel comfortable anymore. I was constantly comparing America to China at the time. And you know, not to say that China doesn't have its issues. Every country has its pros and its cons. But just the simple things like the cost of healthcare, you know, and I remember being furious because when I was in China, I bought eyeglasses. And when I went back to America, I left them. And I was enraged because for the exam, for the actual glasses to be fitted, everything, not only did it take me an hour or two, it only cost $30 US.
Wow.
That's unheard of here in America.
Exactly. So when I realized that I had to get another pair in America and realized that I was going to pay at least $200, I was fed up at that point. I was fed up because I think I was in denial for a long time. Well, at least for a few months. When I got back, I'm like, okay, no, it's just difficult right now because I was in China for 3 years and now I have to get used to America again. Ever since I got back, I just haven't felt comfortable. And then as the political climate got interesting, even though, I mean, to be honest, Trump won the first time when I was in China, and I already knew from there that it was all downhill. Already.
All downhill. Oh my God. No. Yeah, you're right. Let me see. Prophet Mother said, I can't get my glasses prescription updated as often as I need to because I can't afford it. That is true. Right. Like the office visit alone is already like $200, and then you really can't afford the glasses. So that's why a lot of us end up getting glasses offline, which is not even the best sometimes. They look good, but they're not the best.
Yep.
So so we all can relate to that healthcare situation when it comes to the prices and the care in America. You said you got everything done within a couple of hours. We have to wait days to get glasses here.
Sometimes a month.
Yeah.
Yep.
So so now you're in Colombia now. Have you moved yet, or?
No, I haven't officially moved. When I came here, my intentions were open. All I knew was that I had an interest in living here. I just wasn't sure what city and also what job I would do. So I've been talking to different schools because I have previous teaching experience overseas. Yeah. But that's not ultimately what I want to do again. So, I'm trying to figure out now, like, what my career will be now, if I will continue teaching or if I will continue into HR and recruiting. So now I know where I want to be.
Yes.
Figure out how to get
then you can figure out the career part. Love that. Marilyn is saying, Diamond, what is your contact information? Marilyn keeps everybody up to date on all of our contact information. How can people find you, Diamond?
Okay. Well, I'll send you my Facebook link after the call. But my Instagram is D as in diamond. DIAMS_XO on Instagram. So that's dimes_XO.
Okay. On IG. All right. So we got that. All right. In case some people want to ask you some questions and stuff.
Sure.
So, so some of the reasons that we're leaving are cost of living, right? Food quality. I know getting ready to go to Costa Rica, it's going to be a whole different just the quality of food you're going to be able to get there. The housing crisis here, dating, toxicity, the general toxicity, the politics, the crime, dependence on cars, and did we mention healthcare? Yeah. So let's talk about dating. Tell me, Mojo, have you been able to date over there in Medellin?
I've gone to dinner. However, what I will say is navigating dating in a different country, I would say it's individual for every single woman. What exactly are you looking for when it comes to dating? For me, I'm here with my daughter. I'm now getting her into sports. So I'm not quite looking for a full-time beau yet, but of course somebody to spend time with. And yes, here in Medellin, that is possible. I just say always anywhere you go, date with caution. You know, you have to remember, you know, most of the time, you know, you hear stories about women looking for opportunities with foreigners. Well, the men are going to look for opportunities as well. You have the reality is you're coming into a place with a higher income value, just period, and that's looked at. So I always say you have to be cautious, you know, because I've heard stories of, you know, of people dating local, and then you hear stories that are amazing, you know, where there's women who have families here and they have Colombian spouses. So I think it just all really depends as what you're looking for. It's gone well for me within the limits of what I want here. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Oriel, that was here last time, she married a Colombian and lives there in I forgot the town where
Cali, she's in the south.
yes, yes, yes. So that worked out for her.
Yes.
What about you, Diamond? See anybody interesting roaming the streets?
Oh, well, for sure. Definitely see some interesting things when you're roaming the streets.
Yeah.
These
Oh, yeah,
brothers here
100%.
are fine now. These brothers,
Yes.
listen, our cousins down here in Colombia, yeah.
My eyes work and I use them for sure. But I mean, like I've been here a month, so I did go on a date last week.
How do you meet people? Are you meeting these people online or are you just bumping to them?
Well, both. So, like for example, depending on the area, because I will say the men in Cartagena are a lot more confident and assertive.
Yeah.
So when I was there, it was more so like men approaching me on the street for dates and or whatever else. But here,
I use the word aggressive.
Aggressive. There you go.
Yes.
They could be aggressive. So that was a lot of just men just in real life. But I've noticed other cities compared to Cartagena, the men are more composed. So the date I went on here, I did meet him online because like I said, men aren't really approaching me as much here. They'll just stare or they'll make like a soft like you're very beautiful.
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. But the date went well. I mean, I didn't feel any romantic chemistry.
Yeah.
But just date level, yeah, it was great. He had manners. He was a gentleman. He was
and he speaks English.
Más o
menos. So that was fun. I got to practice
my God.
Spanish
And what did you say? I'm sorry. What's that? What did you repeat?
Más despacio, por favor. Okay.
Oh, shoot.
So
shoot.
That was interesting. That was interesting.
Mm-hmm. And the caveat that, you know, it helps you with your Spanish too.
Yes.
You know, even if it's just a coffee meetup or a lunch meetup, you know what I mean? I think women, sometimes we lead with the fact that everybody's not meant to be your husband, ladies. And so, you know, just date casually and have fun doing it. Eat. For me, I'm old school, so there's nothing wrong with coffee. I know it's on the new school don't do list, but but I'm old school, so coffee is fine with me. I think it's a great place for an icebreaker, you know, and just to get to know one another. Do I really want to go on a nice date with you? You know what I mean? And I don't want to spend the money, and I don't want you to spend the money on somewhere nice if there's not chemistry to begin with. So that's just my approach to it. But it helps you keep your Spanish up for sure.
Yeah.
You know? And so you'll definitely get some conversation in. And I mean, just to be truthful, it's nice when the conversation is with somebody who looks like you or looks like the cousins or the brothers that in your hometown, you know. So it makes me as a woman a little bit more motivated to learn the language faster.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: when people look at you over there in Colombia, do they recognize that you are from someplace else? Do they recognize you're American? Or, hey, Al, do they recognize that you're like a foreigner?
For me, not initially, no, because I know, you know, I'm Trinidadian. I have the Caribbean look. I have the look.
Oh, I didn't know that part, sis.
I absolutely am. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay, so they don't know offhand that you're a foreigner.
No, not until I start speaking Spanish and they can hear my gringa accent in the Spanish, you know, and then they'll ask me, hey, ¿de dónde eres? You know, and I'll tell them Nueva York, and, you know, they'll say, oh, you speak Spanish well, but they could tell that you're not. Start speaking. Yeah. But if I'm out on the street, out and about, nah.
They can't tell. What about you, German?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Which it makes me think it's a 50-50, because I have wanted to start asking people, because I do think Americans, I think we have a look. Don't ask me what that look is, but I can tell. So I often wonder if that's what people assume about me. But I have had people make comments like, oh, you Colombiano? Like, oh, no, gringa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I guess maybe 50-50 maybe.
Yeah. I'd be interested to know, Jess, if they look at you, if they would be able to look at you and tell that you're not from Costa Rica. Probably not. Probably not, right?
Well, when I was there in March with my daughter, we went on an excursion and I spoke Spanish the whole, because I speak Spanish fluently.
Yes, from Panama.
Yeah, and so they were like, "Oh, eres tica?" They asked me if I was tica, which is how they relate to women in Costa Rica as tica and the men as ticos. And I said no, you know. So they thought that I was from, you know, the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. So they didn't know until I told them. They're like, "Oh, you're not," you know. And then they got into like, "Where are you from?" And so they're like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, they thought I was from the Caribbean coast. So I guess I spoke well enough.
Wow. The world is becoming smaller and smaller, right? We're so much more connected now. We're all blending in.
Absolutely.
Lori said, hey, Jess. Lori, yes, I saw that you guys met up in
yes, her and Janae were so sweet to come and meet me.
Yeah.
To send me off.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really sweet of them. The weather wasn't great, but they soldiered on. So for that, I'm like, oh, little Omi. I appreciate that.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
now,
this is awesome.
Are your expectations about life and opportunities in your chosen destination? What are you envisioning or hoping? What kind of opportunities are you hoping that might open up for you in these new places?
I'll go. For me, you know, my long-term plan is to have a business here. You know?
Yes. How easy is it to do business over there, to set up business?
I could say I'm just starting to look into it. For depending on what it is, it may be fairly easy. You know, the industry I'm going into, it's not really easy. There's a lot of red tape because I'm going into medical cannabis. However, you know, it depends on the industry and what you're deciding that you want to do. So I know a sister here that's from England of Jamaican descent. We talked about that last week. She has a restaurant, you know, and so there are foreigners here with spas. We were I saw Diamond. We were just at a local dinner the other day. At a restaurant that's owned by American black male expat here. It's called Machiavelli's here in Medellin. So there are black expats, yes, that are able to come here and run and have successful businesses. Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So you are anticipating opportunities for business growth and development.
Absolutely, yes.
What about you, Jess? What do you think?
So as far as opportunities, I think just in general, from a human perspective,
Yeah.
opportunities really for my child to really live with a sense of freedom that she's not been able to up until now.
Yes.
And she will be starting her teenage years. She turns 13 next month. So she'll be starting her teenage years outside of the US. So for me, is just being able to see the beauty of how, how she evolves,
Mhm.
right? Of course, teens be teening. So that
Yeah.
internationally, they go
Yeah.
teen wherever. However, the influences, the experiences, and the different exposure will will make her a much more well-rounded young lady as
So let
she.
me ask you this. When you first mentioned to her that you were thinking of moving to Costa Rica, what was her reaction?
Why? Why, mommy? And
Yeah.
why Costa Rica? What about my friends and the typical things that kids ask? And I said it's an adventure. I said we're going to go on a little adventure. And mommy was led to first to move to Costa Rica, and so we're gonna go check it out. Are we coming back after a year? I said we'll see.
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
we'll assess in a year. We will assess where we are, and then we'll make a decision. But I didn't make any commitments to
That's
that.
another question I wanted to ask you guys, right? Are the places that you're moving to like your forever ever place, or are you thinking that maybe in a few years you might want another change?
For me,
So, I mean, of course, if I start business here, I plan on being here for a while. Even with
Mm-hmm.
looking at businesses, also, I'm also traveling with a child, so I have a 10-year-old, and as they go into teen years or preteen years, there's starting to be more stability. My baby girl's been traveling with me since she was 3 years old. We started off when I was still active duty. So she went to Korea and some of my overseas assignments with me. And that's where travel started. So travel has always been in her DNA. But I think for children, at least for my child, each child is different. I think when you have to assess your child, you look for stability. And I could tell she wants that. It doesn't matter that we're in the States or not. It's just a
Yeah.
community of children that she could stay around, that she could grow with, have
Yeah.
social norms with, activities. And so for me, that was something I thought about, right? Because I kind of wanted to just be this forever traveling, world schooling mother where, every 6 months we're in a new destination. But I
Mm-hmm.
saw the older she got, that she was more fragile with that. So I said, okay, well, we could home base in a general region,
Yeah.
and we could travel from that region. And so for me, I could see me being here for the foreseeable future, but ultimately, I would love to be back home in the motherland.
Yeah.
Ultimately, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Diamond, you think it might be in Colombia for a while and then probably go somewhere else, or you think maybe
I don't want to move anymore. Wherever I go, I
no.
plan on being there for as long as possible. Maybe if this was my first time,
Mhm.
but since this is my second time trying to leave America, it's because I don't want to be in America.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I'm kind of over it now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Moving is hard. I mean, just even with this move, I mean, moving, from place to place within the same region is hard. But this
Right.
move, when people are like, "Are you moving again?" I'm like, "Hell no." I'm like, "You don't know. This move almost took me out."
Yeah.
But I'm doing it because, right. But to be in 6 months to a year, be like, "Yeah, I'm about to pack up my stuff and move." Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not about that life. I'm about we can travel, but I'm not about literally picking up my whole. I'm not 16. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
or 21, let's say 21. Like it's a lot. It is a lot. It's taxing mentally, physically, emotionally, just everything that comes with having to do that.
Yeah.
How
So
long was your moving process? Your
gosh.
trip here and
So I knew definitively October of 2023. That was
Mhm.
the plan. The holidays were coming. I was like, I'm not doing anything until January because I just couldn't do
Mhm.
all the things. And I knew that was going to be my last holiday. So I hosted, I was in the streets doing all the things during the holidays because
Mhm.
I knew that was going to be my last holiday, like the way it was.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
January, I started to mentally just assess what I needed to do. But literally, I have been from January, in some phase, right, of moving.
Mhm.
May is when the rubber meets the proverbial road, and I was like full speed ahead, no looking back, because I knew that I needed to be at my house by July, and there was things that needed to get done swiftly. So I had been moving slowly, but then getting everything in overdrive as of May. But it's a process. It's a long process. I mean,
Did you have some coaching to help you get ready?
I had some therapy. How about that?
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That'll work. That'll work.
Listen, because it is it's a emotional, not only physical, but it's a huge, just, you are uprooting your entire life and your child, in my case, and my child's life. It wasn't just me, and what that would look like. And so yeah, I did, I was doing therapy before, but then therapy shifted to here's what's happening. And so I was
Mhm.
navigating this big change. And
Mhm.
as a matter of fact, I had lunch with her today before I left.
What? You had lunch with your therapist? Go ahead, girl. Shoot.
Yeah, we hugged it out. Like we became friends. It just
Yeah, we
worked out.
accomplished something
Yeah,
together. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
that's
So
beautiful.
it was a process, but yeah, coaching, no, but I have a good friend who is like an organizational guru.
All right.
My goddaughter's mom. So they flew in, and it was like an army, like literally. I was like, girl, let me rest. She's like, no, we need to finish this today. We have
Wow.
Goodwill. We need to put, and literally, she came Memorial Day weekend, and she came that Wednesday. And literally, when she left, I was so exhausted. We got so much done. And then she gave me a manifest. This is what you will do every week.
Wow.
She sounds like she has air in her jar.
You
No,
must love me. So each
Girl.
week she broke down which areas of the house that I would deal with until it was time for me to leave. Yeah, it was.
Dang, that's her superpower.
Yes, it
Superpower.
is.
That was excellent
I
help.
was so overwhelmed. She was like, "How are things going?" I was like, "Well," she came. She was like, "Jess, what is happening here?" I'm like, "I'm overwhelmed."
So between her and your therapist, you made it happen. 2 days to go. Jess has 2 more days to go, y'all. Yes.
Listen,
Janae
Awesome.
has joined the chat. So Janae's here too.
hey, Janae.
And she says so much planning to do. She says therapy is excellent. Leave those other things behind as well and travel light. And
Yes,
that's what you're doing. You're traveling light.
I am as light as
Um,
I can. I'm even thinking about unloading getting rid of some more stuff before I leave because I'm like,
come out of the suitcases.
Mhm.
How many suitcases you have now going with you?
6,
6.
but
So
I have 6 suitcases, but I have 5 black bottom bins.
Mhm.
really? You're
Yeah,
gonna take all those on the plane with you?
yes, ma'am. So 5 bins, the black bottom, yellow top bins, and 6
Mhm.
suitcases.
Wow.
I
I
mean,
didn't even know you could take that much stuff on the airplane.
you can. You gonna pay for
You
it.
gonna pay
Yeah.
for it?
Yeah, you gotta
Okay.
call ahead of time. Call ahead of time. You let them know, and then you could cargo your stuff on the flight with you. But it's cheap. It depends. I mean, it depends on. I would caveat. It depends on what city you're going to, what's available in that city, what's important to you. You know what I mean? Because for her, you weigh the difference. Is it easier for me to take this stuff with me, or is it easier for me to buy it all at the location that I'm going? Things that, for example, I'll say electronics overseas are expensive. You know, very expensive. So I always say travel with things like your computer, your laptop, things that that you may need if you're looking for remote work. Bring those things with you. Some of the simple things, no, you may not need. So and that's the importance of I want to say, just caveat, I know we talked about it last week, but pre-planning your trip. Do not show up anywhere blindly. I've seen that go incredibly south, and people end up in more debt and more frustrated because they didn't do the pre-planning trip. And yes, I know it's expensive. I know you say, hey, I want to save that money for my overall trip. I've been talking with the expat community. The expat community seems great. Everybody's been helpful. And I've just landed here, and you don't have a purpose, a goal. So wherever you're really thinking about saying, hey, I'm really drawn to this place, I'm drawn to the community here, even if it's a 5-day or a 4-day weekend trip, go feel the vibe of that place and see if that's really where you really want to be. Yeah, for sure.
Diamond, so you don't actually live in Colombia yet, right?
Yes, not yet, because to Mojo's point, when I moved to China the first time, it was blind, sight unseen. I just showed up, which in that case it was okay, because the company that I was working for, it was very organized and they helped a lot, and everything for the most part was either already set up or I would get help to set them up. So this time around, I didn't have that. So and I'm also older, so I'm not going to just show up in Colombia just with no information, just okay, I live here now. So no. So that's why I'm here, to spend my time in multiple cities so I can get an idea of where I actually want to be.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to ask a question about the visa situation in a minute. But Janae says, what did everyone do with the sentimental items when they decluttered, especially if you had children? What did you do with your sentimental items?
So for me, I took everything out of frames. I got a big binder, document protectors. I consolidated all my sentimental items, family pictures. I bought a little chest that I could lock certain things up with, and I put them in storage with my aunt who's in Texas. And here's the thing, your sentimental items, say you get to a place and you like it, usually I go visit my family, so things come back with me, little by little, knowing that, okay, like I committed to being here, I have a place here, so I knew that, okay, when I go back, I could pick a few more things up and I could carry those things into Colombia with me, now that I've decided that I'm going to stay here in the city, and now that I have a more permanent place to live outside of an Airbnb. So that's always an option, also, as we were talking about shipping, there are shipping companies that can help you. I know a big one that a lot of people use here is CaribbeanShipper.com. They're based out of Miami, Florida. They ship to a lot of places in the Caribbean, but there's a lot of places within Florida where they'll give you an address. You can ship your things there. They consolidate, like especially things in Amazon that may be a little tricky with customs. I'm not saying bring illegal stuff in the country, y'all, but I'm talking about things like my seasonings and my hair products. And sometimes it's saying, hey, you can ship it through a different company and they'll consolidate your things and they'll ship them. So if there's things that you really need, medications, your sentimentals, there's options to get those things there. Or you pay, I always say the cheapest luggage is to possibly pay for a bag or two over on the airplane, and bring that with you, because that's going to be usually your most inexpensive option, to pay $100 to $150 for an extra bag versus $200 upwards for shipping of certain items.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Linda. Hey. So yeah, so Jess, what about you? I know your organizer friend helped you figure out your sentimentals.
No, so yeah, my sentimentals, I did same, had a lot of pictures of my daughter. So I photographed a lot of them. I just took pictures of them on my iPhone. They're saved in the iCloud. There are a few, and I had a lot of duplicate pictures, so I was like, okay, I don't need 5 pictures. I don't need 5 Christmas pictures the same. So I really just consolidated everything to make it just one picture of whatever that. And some I brought a very few, because at our new place I want to have pictures of us up, but a lot of them I did consolidate and I put them in like in a big envelope, and so I left those, or I'm leaving those with my aunt, and then when I come back, because all I have left is a trunk, a big and one contractor size bag of stuff that is
Oh my goodness.
that I plan to come back to get. Yeah, but other than that, that's it. I found pictures from high school. I took digital pictures of everything and then threw it away, because I'm like, I don't want to keep, why am I carrying all these? And half those pictures I hadn't seen in decades. So I'm like, at this point, really, some people I didn't even know who they were in the picture. So those definitely went by itself. So, but there's something, there's a smiley face, the emojis. So emoji's been around for a long time, right? I'm a 70s baby. There's a smiley face emoji cookie jar that has been with us since we were babies. And my mom got it. So that is vintage, and it has been in our family for a long, long time. So that is one thing that we made away. We got it. We're getting it. We're taking it with us. Because my mom was like, what about that? I'm like, I'm taking it with me. So that's the one, because it reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of my siblings. It reminds me of my mom. And it's a smiley face cookie jar. Who doesn't love a smiley face cookie? And it's
oh my God. Wow.
So that's okay. That's one sentimental thing. But yeah, so you have to really kind of realize, is it worth me paying to bring this? Is this something that, like, yes, sentimental things are not replaceable, but am I willing to pay $500 to bring this with me on a plane to where it's going to sit in the closet or in a corner and and collect dust? Or really, have I received everything that I was meant to receive from this thing? I feel loved. It's been with me, but it's now time for me to part. So it's those questions. Also, another thing I did was I listened to the Marie Kondo book, The Art of Organizing. Marie Kondo, she has a show on Netflix, has a book. I listened to that book, and it really was eye-opening for me, and it helped me get rid of a lot of things. She talks about sentimental items. She talks about things. So yeah, the art of decluttering, or the art of organizing. It's Marie Kondo. If you're a book listener, if not, you can read it. But as you prepare, it helps you get your mind straight. So when I had all these clothes in a pile, I was like, oh, but this outfit is so cute. When was the last time you wore it? Could you find another outfit like this? Yep, no. And so it really helps you say, okay, it's gotta go. And I got rid of a lot of, a lot of us probably can attest. I got rid of a lot of really cute, nice clothes. But I'm like, is it serving me? I've worn it a few times. I've got pictures of me in it.
You won't even remember that you had those outfits.
Yeah, exactly. So it is. It's a process.
So now let me ask you: are you guys maintaining an American address still? And what do you do about mail? I guess that's two questions. Are you maintaining an American address? And what do you do about mail while you're away?
So just like a Caribbean shipper, they also have digital mailboxes where they will scan. They'll give you an address. I mean, I have family still in the States, and so I use that address as my permanent U.S. address, because yes, my main bacon is still attached to the U.S. Taxes are still attached to the U.S. And so there's certain things. Just because you leave, you don't necessarily give up your U.S. citizenship. That's not the goal.
Right.
The goal is actually to obtain duality in different countries, so the options are there for you. And I know that sometimes for a lot of African American families, that's a totally different concept. Like, how do you do that? A lot of times people will say, is it legal? It's absolutely legal. Yes, even my banking, I have my American address as my as my shipping address, and my physical address is here at my overseas address. So my bank is aware that I'm out of the country.
Yep.
You know, and important things that I might not want to go over mail and ship overseas. Yes, then it could get shipped to a mailbox, a digital mailbox. It goes to that address and they'll scan the important things in for you, and it'll come straight to an email address.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same, ditto.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but you're opening up local bank accounts in these new countries, right?
I'm not
And
planning to.
No, you're
Oh.
not. You'll just use ATM for cash and stuff, and then use credit cards for purchases.
Oh wait, so in Costa Rica, like certain things that you'd want to do if you live there, you don't need like a official Costa Rican bank.
No, from what I have from the research and conversations I've had, no, it's not necessary to do that. And I also have seen flip that you can, but it's not necessary. And some folks have, and then they run into issues with trying to transfer funds from a U.S. bank to overseas bank, and the red tape that's involved with that. Are you, because they want our money, whether we choose to believe it or not. The big brother in the U.S. is watching where the U.S. dollars is flowing to bank accounts. So they ran into some delays and then having to explain, and so it was a little bit tricky for this particular. I've read a few people that were trying to transfer funds to their Costa Rican bank account. For me, it's not necessary. I'll be able to do, I can get cash. My banks know where I am, pulling from the ATM, then they don't think it's fraud. And so, yeah, I'll work that until, I'm there for a while and I say, okay, maybe more convenient for me to do this here, then I may do that, but it's not necessary initially.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to add, check your individual bank, because some banks charge international fees.
Yeah.
But I will say it just differs from whatever country you're going to, what kind of business you're doing there, and what bank you have in the States. I want to say that I know that a lot of people use Charles Schwab as an international bank. They give some of the best rates.
Right.
I know here in Colombia, you cannot open a Colombian bank account without a certain visa and a cedula. And even with, say, for example, like I know a lot of people are interested in this digital nomad visa that's here in Colombia now. But I also hear a lot of people in the group saying, hey, I went to the bank and they wouldn't let me open a bank account even with this kind of visa, because it's a V visa, right? So it's still under the visitor category, even though the visa gives you more time to stay in the country outside the initial 3 months and then the possible extension of 3 months here in Colombia. So if you're coming on a tourist visa to Colombia, you only have up to 6 months in a single year to stay here. And so they're very particular in Colombia about the type of visa you have for a bank account. So I know what most people do. With technology, though, is great, because a lot of people, I want to shout out Remitly, and I'm not associated with any of these companies. I don't get paid, no sponsors here. However, there are certain apps that's used, and usually once you get to an area, I always say get connected with the WhatsApp group and the Facebook groups, and ask questions for the locals that are there, because we usually know what's forever changing and we usually have up-to-date information. So that's a perfect way to, I always say, and I know I said it last time, start to do your research for the country that you're looking to go to. Get with the expats that are in that country and ask your questions. And now I know a lot of the expat pages, they're organized where they always look in the search bar. They have frequently asked questions for that country. And usually somebody has been nice enough. I know here in Medellin, they have all types of pages and Google Docs that, people help you out, that are willing to help you out with saying, hey, here's the things you need. So get in those groups and ask the questions. But each country differs that you want to go to. And so it's up in the air. But I can say when traveling, most people use their foreign ATM cards, and you usually try to find the local bank in the country. I know here in Colombia is Davivienda that we all go to that gives you the best rate when you're taking out money. So we exchange that information, and that's kind of how you figure it out where you go along. But first thing first, if you plan on using that U.S. card, double check those fees, because it may be cheaper just to open a little side account so you could do business while you're not in the States with a different bank that's going to be more useful to your traveling.
Those fees will kill you.
So I know this goes without saying, but y'all be hold on to your debit cards, because you lose your debit card over there, you're going to be trapped for a few days, right? So
be very careful.
Yeah. So now let's talk about personal care. So Diamond, you get your hair done in Colombia?
I have twice because it's just so affordable.
It's so affordable. Do you see like your favorite products over there in Colombia?
Yes and no. Yes and no. And I mean, it's a part of that discussion on packing. You know, you really have to think about where you're going. Like, I'm not gonna be able to just walk into a Walmart or a Walgreens really quick and grab something. So if you have those certain products that you swear by and you've used it for 10 years and I'm not changing, then that's the kind of thing you're going to want to pack. But to Mojo's point, you know, whenever there's a place that you're thinking about moving to, start to look into these WhatsApp groups, because you can ask a lot of these questions. Like, you know, I'm considering moving to Medellin and I have these products that I swear by. Can I find this here? And they'll be able to tell you yes or no, or no, but here's how we get that stuff. Because I remember in China, there was really only one main Black woman expat group. And anything we needed, we could talk about. Because yes, there are certain things that you won't find in other countries, but people start to have their own businesses and start to be able to provide these things. So whether you can find it, whether you can't, whether you can, but with a little bit more effort, those are the kind of things you learn before. Those are the kind of things you can learn before you get there by joining some of these WhatsApp groups and talking to the expats that are already there.
That Colombian WhatsApp group is amazing. It's so dynamic. It's always on point with any information that you ask. Somebody's going to answer you. And it's always up to date on all the activities that are happening. Yeah. You do not have to stay home and feel bored. There's somebody posts something that you can show up to. And somebody's going to show up and want to go with you, accompany. I mean, when I was there,
something going on almost every night. I can't keep up.
You really can.
This is a very social, very active, and as to Diamond's earlier point, I mean, I think this Sunday I'm going ATV riding. We've done black cowboys horseback riding.
Love it.
There's a guy here, Dave. I'm gonna shout Dave out. What's up, Dave? He is super organized, super detailed, and super amazing. He's usually the group gatherer, and so and he's outside and in the know, so we know the best restaurants, best rooftop. I'm talking about, and this is a sexy city, y'all. It's vibey. We doing rooftop brunches on the pool. Love it. And it's a beautiful, mature crowd. Overly to say, I can't say I've ever been out here and there's been any mess. That's been the beauty of it. Every single event that I've been to here in Medellin has been well curated, and the crowd has absolutely been amazing. And so that's whether you're with the locals, that's whether you're with expats or a mixture in company. It's always a good time. I mean, that was part of the allure to this city, was how popping it was, but not only is it popping, it's popping in a good time.
Okay, well, we coming through there. Once we get settled, we're gonna come through.
I know.
You'll love it.
Hey, Jess. I was
You'll
Okay,
love it.
come down here and get the bug, Jess. Jess will be on the next live talk about
I'll be
why
like, you know what?
Colombia,
Right?
but
I know I said I
Colombia.
wasn't moving, but Columbia is calling my name.
It's been calling a lot of people. It's been
Listen,
calling a lot of
it
people.
catches you. This city is truly a city that will catch you off guard.
That's
I
true.
was literally in passing on my way to Brazil, and I was like, whoa, this is like, I'm here. Okay, it has my attention. I'm here. Everything that I need is here. Again, the diaspora is here. So how do I start setting some roots here for myself and my daughter? And so far, so good. It's worked out well.
Love that.
So Diamond, so you're there for the summer. Are you gonna come back to America, prepare, and then go back to Colombia?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Because actually, on Friday, I participated in an ayahuasca ceremony.
What?
Yes, and my intention was to get some clarity on my life. Like, okay, what's the job that I should do? You know, where is this the place that I'm going to live? But instead, I got other answers that involve home. So I'm going to go tie some loose ends up back home and then come back. I will definitely be back. It's just a matter of when.
Wait, can you elaborate on what that ceremony is? I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry. And please forgive me. I am not a professional.
You
Not
can give
professional.
us.
So,
How did you find out about the ceremony in the first place? From the WhatsApp group?
well, yeah. So I've been thinking about it for a while, and after everything was booked for Colombia, I thought, oh wait, this is something that is done in South America regularly. I wonder if they have something like that in Colombia. So at first I Googled, and then I thought, I don't want to just pick a random company that I Googled to participate in that kind of thing. So I went to the WhatsApp group and I searched ayahuasca just to see who had talked about it. And then through there, I found a young lady. And then after talking to her, she connected me with someone else who connected me with the group who I did the ceremony with this time. And I mean, to summarize, ayahuasca, it's a tea that you drink. And one of the, I guess, chemicals that's found in DMT comes from this. So when you participate, it does give you some, psychedelic.
Hallucinogenic.
Yeah, a few effects, but they don't do it recreationally. Like, you have to participate in a ceremony. Like, they take it very seriously because ayahuasca they call the grandmother. So when you participate, you meet the grandmother. And yeah, so again, please forgive me. I'm nobody's professional. I should not even be trying to explain it, but I did my best. So yeah, but a lot of people get called to it. Well, when they have the right intentions, when they, have gone through a lot in their life and they're kind of in a crossroads and they're looking for clarity. So that's where I was, in a crossroads.
And
but
ayahuasca is an indigenous practice, you know what I mean? So ayahuasca has been practiced for years to get clarity. And if you think about it, how I kind of compare it, it's like the flower that Black Panther drunk in the Black Panther movie. If you could compare it to something and you go into the realm of the ancestors, and the goal of this ceremony, and trust me, no, it's not like you guys think about like these LSD or these crazy trips. That's not the purpose of it. So if you're looking just to go get high, just don't do it, okay? No. Yeah, because this is traditional and this is ancestral medicine, and you have to realize that this is someone's ancestral practice. And the deeper you get into it, our ancestral practice, but that's a whole nother conversation for a different day. But it's worked and it's helped, and the people that have partaken in it, I can't say I've heard too much bad in the partaking of their ceremony. It is there's usually a shaman there, so it's in a controlled environment. So don't think about it like you're going to rave or you're going to sleep, and that's not it. There's an eating regimen usually before. There's preparation, and so Yeah, but it's an indigenous spiritual ceremony that, yes, has hallucinogenic effects, but usually, you know, what it's known for, the benefits to it is to help heal traumas. So sometimes it's used as a therapeutic method, or type of hypnosis per se, sorry. And so, yeah. But not to get into that, but if you come to Colombia, you will find a spiritual tribe here because indigenous practice is very embedded into the Colombian culture. You know, you will always, you could go to the market here and they all have all types of herbs and teas and plants and natural medicines. And quite frankly, it's healing. You know, that's another thing. I always say, if you're willing to travel, open your mind to experience something new. Because the people that I see who leave the States and they don't enjoy it, most of the time they're staying to themselves, they're not socializing, and they're really not in it for the experience of a different culture, a different place. You know, don't do it just because you hear it's cheaper. And it's not cheaper. I like to use the word that it's more affordable to have a better quality of life. I can't stand the word cheap. You know, because nothing here. My house isn't.
Nothing is cheap.
My house isn't falling apart. You know, you know, I live in a beautiful home in a beautiful part of town. You know, I was just with a couple that was here, and they said it took us so long to visit this country because you hear Medellin, you hear Colombia, you think of the days of Pablo Escobar, cartels, danger, and third world country. And she said we landed, and when we came out that airport and saw the landscape, listen, that part was still your heart alone when you come into Medellin. Once you come out that airport, and there's a big tunnel that you go through, so you're in this dark tunnel, and then you just come into this light, and there's this landscape, this breathtaking landscape. You're driving through these hills and mountains, and you're seeing valleys and greenery, and just fresh blue air and beautiful clouds everywhere, right? And so that alone will capture your heart when it comes to Colombia, but there's nothing that is a third world country. Yes, like we say, every country has its struggles. Every country have their impoverished areas, and every country has their areas of wealth. That's inevitable throughout the world, you know. But no, I'm not living in a third world anything. I got 2 grocery stores down the block. I have a gym, a sauna, a steam room, a park, a nature walk, a co-working space, all within the building that I'm staying in. I would never be able to live in New York, right, on the budget that I live with here. So yes, we do move for budget purposes because here I could live off a retirement very comfortably, and I'm okay, and I'm not forced to have to go back into work and not spend the time that I wanted with my child. However, definitely not cheap, and yes, budget accordingly and plan accordingly to move into those countries. But get out, explore, and
do you get out
about
more?
the place that you're at.
Do you find that you get out more over there as opposed to being in the U.S.? And how do you get around?
Well, I ditched my car.
You bought a car? You said you bought a car?
Yeah, I was getting too fat, sis. So I ditched the car. I was like, no, it is what it is. I retired. You know, I was an Army girl, so I was forced to work out for 22 years. And when I retired, I said, forget it. No more early mornings and no more working out. But that lifestyle change showed up. Okay, so they said, since you're not getting 10,000 steps a day no more, so I got rid of my car. And but here in this particular city, you do no Uber and Didi works perfectly fine. There's a metro system here, so the bus routes, public transportation in this city, that was one of the things that kept me here and drew me here was the public transportation. And 2, the weather is almost perfect. It's probably 90. It's probably 90, 80. It's probably 90 now, and today will be considered a hot day for here in Colombia, but the weather varies from usually about 80 to 87 degrees. Wind blowing through the valley because Medellin is in the valley in the mountains. But beautiful.
Gorgeous.
So Diamond, when you went to Santa Marta the other day, you flew or you took a train or a bus?
So yes, I went from Cartagena to Santa Marta, and I took a shuttle.
Oh,
Yes.
a shuttle? You mean like a bus?
So a small
Airplane?
bus.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah, and that that was an interesting process. Yeah, everything in
Wow.
Spanish. Luckily I was able to purchase the ticket online. Thank God, because my Spanish it needs some work. I'm working on it. So yeah, took the shuttle there. It took a few hours. We were on time, but yeah, all Spanish. There were some English speakers on the bus, so I know like one other guy explained something to me that because I didn't know what was going on, but it was pretty smooth. That they made 2 stops, and then we were in Santa Marta.
Okay. Thank you, Marilyn. I want to remind you guys to please comment, share, like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss any updates. And Marilyn says you want to be a part of this, right? And yes, you do. Yes, you do. Be a part of this community. And let's see, Lori was saying that her friend went to Peru
Mm.
to a famous shaman to do the ayahuasca retreat. Wow.
Yeah, it's becoming a more, I don't want to say common, but a more known circumstance. And like Moja said, it's not anything that people do for fun. It is
Yeah,
it is not used recreationally at all.
that's
It is
they,
taken
they,
very
they
seriously.
supervise you so carefully when you take it.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, because yes, there is a shaman, but there's also like caretakers.
Uh-huh.
So there's a whole setup there, and there are people there to keep an eye out, like if you're not feeling well or if you need anything. So yeah,
Mm,
it's very controlled.
okay. So easier to get around, no need for a car. Okay.
No need for thank God.
Now, wow, how does your identity as a Black woman influence your decision-making process about leaving America?
Well, I'll say it wasn't something I thought about
Yeah.
until I experienced it.
Mm,
It really depends on what's important to you. Like I have a friend, and one of the checks that she has for a place is, can I date there? Am I desired there? Do the men there find me attractive? Um, that wasn't something I thought about until I went to China and said, oh, I am not what is found to be attractive here. So, but I did,
ah,
yes, but I did date a lot in China, but they were all foreign men because also I wasn't really romantically attracted to a lot of the locals there.
yeah.
So now that is something that I do keep in the back of my mind. Is it the top 3 thing that I'm looking for? Not necessarily, but it is something now that I have in my mind. Like, am I going to feel desired at all in the place that I go?
Mm, that's a good point. That's a good point. Mhm.
One of mine is how are we viewed by the locals in the place that we're going? Are you welcomed? Um, are you going to be accepted? There's some places that I've been to and I'm just like, man, I don't want to be here. Because of the vibrations, it doesn't feel good and it doesn't feel healthy. And that's what we leave America for, right? And so we're leaving for a feeling of freedom. For me, I like to say it for to lift a little bit of the weight off of my shoulders, and for my overall, my emotional, my mental, and my physical wellness, right? And so that's always in my consideration. What do I feel in that place? What's the energy like? And are they receptive to me as a Black woman? And with my daughter, like the lesson I learned in Mexico, when she is out and about within that society, is that society reflective of her, regardless of language difference? But is there going to be a population there where she could look in the face of others that look like us, have the hair texture as us? Because in Mexico, she was marveled over all the time, and not in any with any ill intention, but they were pet. She has locks, right? So they were petting her locks and they want to smell, and I'm just like, okay, she's not a museum display. She's
Yeah.
thing, you know what I mean? And so my next destination, I was very hyper focused on being somewhere where those in the population look like me and we can blend. So that's always one of my focuses. Now, given the experience we had in Mexico.
I want to ask two last questions, and I hope I don't sound pessimistic or like a down or anything. That's not my intention. It's just I'm thinking. I think we have to think about these things because stuff can happen anywhere. I mean, if something should happen to you, right? Because you can get a stroke in any country. No matter what age you are, you can have an accident in any country. Something crazy could happen to you in any country. Do you have a contingency plan if something like that should happen to you? Should you get very sick and need like care, personal attention, and that kind of stuff? Do you have contingency plans for these things?
Absolutely. So, and more so for me because I travel with a child and I am a single mother. That's just the reality of it, right? If something was to happen to me, I brought a lot of the military over into my own personal life. And in the military, we used to have something that's called a family care plan. Every soldier that has a family or every service member has to have one, especially when you're in an overseas location. So it lists if anything happens to you, who's responsible, your bank accounts. So I do have an emergency note compiled that my daughter has access to. She's 10, so she knows how to work gadgets now. So it lists all the important things. Yes, who to call, who are the trusted adults in country, and that takes a while to find, right? Because you're just not going to
Right.
your kids up to anyone. So, but there's always a plan in place. Absolutely, yes. I will say for healthcare, look into the healthcare, again, the country that you're going to. If you're going to stay in Colombia for a long time, I know one of the popular ones here is called SURA, SURA. A lot of people use this particular insurance, but there's also overseas insurances. But in short, and you have all these great expat insurances that I know go for sale now, but it may not be used in the country you're in. Are you may? There was a story where a brother, Lord forbid, but it was a big story that happened here. Unfortunately, he had an accident. He was in the hospital, and his families in the States could not access him because he had no way to pay that Colombian hospital for that care that he received. So it was a lot of finagling. You have to get the embassy involved. So look up, again, the groups. I can't reiterate the groups. I can't reiterate the groups enough. People that are on the location that you are looking to go to are going to be a great resource of information to what you need. And yes, people have their own opinions. But yeah, in Colombia, especially if you're applying for visa, it's an automatic requirement is the visa package. Any kind of visa that you are getting outside of the regular 6 months tourist visa that you can come in on, you have to have an insurance here in country or insurance that's covered here and that they can verify is covered here within Colombia.
And since you mentioned visa, I want to remind you guys, don't let your visa run out.
Nope.
Absolutely.
Not let your visa run out.
No. We have lawyers that handle that, and they send reminders and all the good things. And there's people who do it themselves as well, just as fine. Again, do what's up to your comfort level. I'm a person, I don't like to figure it out for myself. And so I'm a person where I will pay for the convenience of a subject matter expert handling my things, and I don't have to figure it all out on my own, because they usually have a streamlined process, and that works for me. But yeah.
And
also, I just want to piggyback actually. That's also why it's so important to get out and meet people in whatever country that you're in, because community is so important for many reasons, but also for emergencies. You want to have one or two people that you trust in the new country.
Yes,
You can't
and you
just
can
Right.
call and, you know, show
Yeah.
up at my house and help me with something, you know.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So yes,
Especially us
you should-
mamas, if something happens to us, who's going to take my child, make sure my child is fed, make sure my
Right.
child is taken care of, and you know,
Right.
keep them emotionally okay until they can figure out what's
Emergency
going on.
person comes
Yeah.
here or whatever. Mhm.
Exactly. You can't, like she said before, you have to keep an open mind. You can't move somewhere and mentally and emotionally you're still in America.
Yeah.
Wherever you move to, you have to foster a life there because you need that support in that country too, just like you need it in America. So
Right.
it's very important to have for your contingency plan. If any emergency happens, you have someone in the country that you're in who can support you.
Exactly. And so a coworker of mine, he's from Pakistan, and I found it very interesting that his mother died here in the U.S., right? And they did not ship her back to Pakistan to bury her. They actually buried her here in the U.S. And I thought that was interesting because I figured like a country like Pakistan, surely they have certain customs and, you know, they would return them. Like if something happened to my mother here or me, we would send our bodies back to Jamaica to be buried, right? So in your move abroad and living abroad, do you have a, where do you have like plans for where you would be buried if you were to die overseas?
For me, yes. I have it all written out. Again, I was a military girl. That's part of the reality of being in the military. When we deploy, there may be a possibility that I might not come back home to my family. And you don't want to think about mortality, but it's just a part of life and anything
Right.
can happen anywhere. So I will absolutely, for me, yes, I have a plan in place. My family knows my wishes. I do have trust. So if I am overseas, people, and let's talk about that. There's a difference between a will and a trust. If you're overseas and something happens and your things are in a will and your family's left to figure out things or it goes into probate, that could delay any help that for your assistance or for me, for my daughter's assistance. So it's very important for me legally, legally to have things in order back in the United States because that's where most of my assets are as far as home, a car, things that I truly own. You know, those assets are back in the States. And so those are written out in a trust. And so they know exactly what to do for me and with me in case there was an emergency that was that ended my vitality while living abroad. Yeah, and people don't like it. You're right. I see a comment that says people don't like to discuss it. Yes, it is a tough discussion, but it is definitely part of the discussion if you're leaving, especially for your loved ones. You know, if you know you have family that love. I know some people leave overseas because they have nothing in the States, right? They're like, I have nothing there. There's nothing that connects me there. I don't want to be there. I'm out. But if you know you have family, you just don't want to put your family through that torture of figuring it out and figuring it out from afar, you know. So yes, there is a plan in place, and it's discussed and it is written. And again, I have a digital document with all the information needed in case anything was to happen that they could get access to, even so far as if they needed access to maybe like my checking account or, you know, for my daughter or something like that. There's money set aside, contingency money for emergency situations as well.
I will say it's in progress. I know I started late on the I have a power of attorney set up, but the finalizing of my trust and my all of that is in process. So actually my final meeting is going to be like a week after I get to Costa Rica.
Okay.
It was covered. Lord's got it.
Yes,
you're on the right track.
You hit
Stay
on
in touch and let us know how it's going in Costa Rica, please.
I will.
And
Yeah,
so,
sorry, I didn't meant to cut. Sorry, I was gonna say that power of attorney is important as well because that gives someone permission to act legally
on your behalf.
In case something does happen to you and they have to make decisions on your behalf. So don't. just to repeat that again, a power of attorney is absolutely everything. There's general power of attorneys where you're saying, I trust this person to handle everything. Or there's specific power of attorneys where you could break it down to, I only want this person to handle only this.
Medical,
and those are easily
finances.
done. And you can get them notified depending on the state and the state that your access is in. Look at the laws on how they do it. But for us, all we had to, you just go and you notarize it. You know, you print it out, you fill everything out, what they're doing it for, and got it notarized, and it works. Yeah.
Yes, please, everyone, and like the commenter said, I know it's uncomfortable, but just because things are uncomfortable doesn't mean we avoid them.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of thing where you just have to swallow your medicine, because I had to deal with that previously, of a family member who was like a mother to me. She passed away and her affairs were not in order, and it caused a lot. I can't even say how much stress it caused. So I know it's uncomfortable. It is very difficult to face your own mortality. I understand that. But if you want to make things easier for your loved ones when you're gone, those are the conversations that need to be had.
Yes, indeed. And Janae says, I would assume all of these papers would need to be translated into the local language for your country.
Yeah, depending on exactly what it is. Yes. And usually if you have a lawyer, or I know here in Colombia, they have actual translation services, and the lady will charge you like 20,000 pesos, which is maybe $5 per page that needs to be translated. And so, there are services I know here in Colombia for those official documents that you may need translated.
Well, and also for the people who are trying to look into how to even get into another country, if you have your degree, teaching English is an option. And a lot of schools, not every school, but a lot of schools, if they want to hire you, they'll help you with the visa process to get your work visa so that you can work and live in that country. So if you have teaching experience, or if you have teaching experience, or if you have your degree and you're just, open to new opportunities and you want to go to another country, I would say definitely look into teaching English. A lot of schools will help you get there.
Somebody gave me a list of places in companies in Colombia that were begging people to come to teach English, and were paying well and helping with visa and accommodations and everything. All right, guys. So, my final word to those who are watching. Well, actually, I want to ask it in the form of a question. Do you really want to escape America, or are you running from yourself? And ask yourself that question, and do your work on yourself even after you have moved. Continue to do work on yourself, self-empowerment work. All right. And then resources to help you plan your move abroad are in the description box. And that's it. Last week I did ask the other ladies what they want to big up themselves for, but Damon wasn't here. So I'm going to ask you today, Damon, what you want to big up yourself for, and then we're going to close.
I want to big up myself for the work that I'm doing on myself. Because like you said, no matter where you go, there you are.
Yes.
So certain issues are nobody else's. And when you leave your home, you'll realize that, like, oh, I'm still dealing with this stuff because it's you and something that you need to work on. So I'm bigging up myself for working on what I need to work on to become a better version of myself.
Proud of you for that, girl. Proud of you for that. Big up yourself for that. All right, guys. I do want to. Oh, she's listing my Patreon, of course. Yeah, if you want to buy your girl a coffee, I'll accept. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank everyone in the chat for participating. And I want a big thanks to you guys for coming back for the second time to help us figure out this thing about moving abroad. Y'all are the best. We're learning from the best. Yes, I'm so excited for you. In 2 more days, you're gonna be peace out, and you are planning your move.
I did not sleep. I did not sleep at all last
That's
night.
what I was gonna say. It's the most
You
exciting.
probably
Yeah.
won't sleep
So-
tonight either.
All the things going through my head about what needs to get done. It's like did not sleep at all, and that's probably going to be like that until we leave. So,
Oh my gosh. You're probably gonna sleep the first week.
yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, ladies, and another excellent show. Laura says, "Thank you, Laura, for watching." And as we part, everyone in the chat, as well as the lady on the panel, may there be ease in your being, and may you be free.
Yeah.
Stay in touch.
All right.
Bye, everybody. Until
Bye.
the next show, you guys, is going to be mental health care abroad. We're going to talk to some doctors about mental health care abroad.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.